This is Daf Yomi Yerushalmi Kilayim, article host of edition, Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, the fourth line from the top, Taman Taninon. And in the Vilna edition, it's on Daf Chavtes on base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. Taman Taninon, with the Masech Shabbos. Zorek Arba Amos Bekoisel Malam Yasorat Fachim, Kizor Bavir. If you throw something against the wall and it adheres to the wall and it's above 10 tefachim, and I was going to speak about what it is in a moment, it's like you throw it into the air, but 10 tefachim, which is a makom ptur. If it's umatim isar tefachim, if you throw it's below 10 tefachim, it's very bar. It's as if it's on the ground. And obviously in Rishus Rabim, because in the Rishus Yachid was Olad L'Rakia. So that's not it's about Rishus Rabim. Now these words are Chisda Marmon Lachson. We really they don't fit here, and therefore yesterday we moved them up to where we thought they belong. So I'm going to ask, ain't so for the raid? Okay, it's adhering there temporarily, but it's not going to last there. So how can you say it's Ba'avir? If it's on top, or how can you say it's the the question will be on the Avir on top. So Rabbi Chia, but Rabbi Chia said, "Tipatu Shai said Dveil Shmeina Vini Teicha." We're talking about a thick, juicy fig which gets smashed into the wall, so it's going to stay there. Now, Rabbi Chagai Boy Kumi Rabbi Yossi. This is so. Rabbi Chagai asked Rabbi Yossi, "Leisa dam Rosh Shipur Madreg Kilamaton." So so it means that the blower part of the madrega should be like the ground. Yesterday we said that this is a mogam b'fnei atzmo. We look at this picture as these lines relate to each other, not to the ground. What do you mean? He says here we see that things below 10 tefachim relate to the ground. So how can we say that they relate to each other on the slope? One of the bounds relate to the ground. So Amalei said no. Taman in the case over here, Taman Yerushalmi often refers to here. The case over here in Kilayim, Zoraim Nehani Mina Madrega. The seeds are growing out of the slope, so they became part of the chefza of the slope. But in the case of the Dveil, even Dveil Shmei, which is adhering there, it has no intrinsic relationship to the wall, and therefore, and eventually somebody's going to brush past and it's going to fall to the ground. So therefore, it's not considered to be part of the ground. It's part of the ground because sooner or later it's where it's going to end up, and actually, I think more directly because it's not intrinsically part of the wall, as opposed to over here where it's intrinsically part of the wall, of the slope. I'll tell you, it could be if there was a hole in the wall. And it gets a hanor from the chor, and hanor is an interesting term because it's not really benefiting from the hole, but it's not even intrinsically part of the wall, but evidently that's the idea that it is going to be is able to be there permanently is enough to consider it part and parcel of the wall, not of the ground. And I could hear that, right? Then you could have asked the question. But they could have made a comparison between the two. But that's in reality not the case over here. Okay? It says, you have two gardens, one on top of the other. The bottom one has the it has the form of a kerem. The top one does not. You can plant the top and over the side of the top one, or on the slope from the top one, until up to 10 tefachim away from the ground. Rabbi Bun Barchia, boy, come Rabbi Zira. Sorry, Bun Barchia asked Rabbi Zira, wait a minute. If you can't get within 10 tefachim of the ground, Leis Hadar Morashi Pur Madrega Kilamatan. It's not teach us that the slope of the wall, at least up to 10 tefachim, is like it's part of the ground. Because otherwise, why could you plant on the entire slope until you actually get down to the ground level where the vineyard is? Amarais, they said, Mishum Zroim Naitim La'avir Kerem. In theory, if it was like grass, maybe, short grass, but in this case, since it's going to shoot out from the side of the slope into the airspace of the kerem, so therefore below 10 tefachim is off limits. It's not because the shipur is the kilamaton, but because the roim are going to be sprout out and be in the avir kerem. So that's the problem. Halyana asuya kerem, where the top garden is kerem. Tachtoina eis kerem, bottom one is not. Zvesa tachtoina, you can plant the bottom one, besa madrega, and the step on the slope. Achumagir, it's not necessarily a slope, obviously. It can be madrega, can mean a straight up. But achumagir ikar kfanim, until you get to the roots of the grapevines. Once you get to that level of the roots, it's a problem. But not before that. On my business says no. We can't plant all the way up to the roots. You have to stay 3 tefachim away from the roots. At a time, like we learned, shorshe peah nichnasi mitoch arba amash bekerem. If you have the roots of let's see the Pnei Moshe here. He says shorshe peah. Tzuras haPesach similar kerem. You have a tzuras Pesach. Shmutli is Zohar Sham. You don't have this distance to all because tzuras haPesach divides. The Avik and Mechitza Mavseka, it's like an interrupting wall. Im shorshe zroim shabo yotzin chutz laPeah. That's the Dad Amash bekerem. If the shorshe peah go out, the shorshe zroim go outside the peah. In other words, they go beyond tzuras haPesach, and they come to the dead 4 amos of the kerem. If they're below lamata shoshel tefachim bakarka, or kerem, they're more than 3 tefachim below it in the ground, or 3 tefachim away from the kerem on the ground. So then I really mutoim. I have a kosher person shoshel tefachim kerem, even though it's on the ground. Kerem damya. Hilkanami tzarchik azor lamata mishloshel tefachim meikorig kfanim. You have to the distance to Zroim, which are below 3 tefachim from the kfanim, from the shroshim of the kfanim. Okay. This is that was halacha beis, halacha gimel. Hamadle es hagefen al mixas apipurus. Modern Hebrew apipurus, pope. I think it must be taken from the Latin. So you're leaning your grapevine on a bit of a pope, but that's not what it is over here. Apipurus is a structure. Probably better pick an article, but of a structure of which you cantilever the kerem, as you might not know if you're city slick like myself. Then grapevines, if they're not supported, they go down at ground level. Some sort of Musar Haskell in that, right? Grapevines are not supported by something which uplifts them, then they're very dangerous. So they bring you to outseers. But so grapevines, in order to grow properly, in order that the grapes should obviously not get ruined, you have to put them up on a trellis. The trellis is what supports them. So Hamad as a given on mixes up photos. You didn't throw up the trellis. In this case, Chaim has a picture. It's going partially on the trellis, on the first gap, over the first gap. I just want to check the picture. It's interesting. He has lots of nice pictures for what we were talking about before. I think we should share these pictures, even though it's one we just did. This picture is where he has to stop when he gets within 10 tefachim of the ground. This picture is showing the growing out into the Avir Kerem. This picture is showing that you can go all the way up to the Ikari Kukfanim. Going up here. This picture is showing stopping 3 Tvachim below where the Ikari Kukfanim start. For the Apipure, he does not have a picture. I thought we had probably a picture. Okay, he does not. So going on. Don't plant even under the rest of the trellis, which so far the grapevine hasn't grown over. Eventually will, but so far it hasn't. Don't plant on that either. If you did plant there, then there's no kilayim, the other, because nothing's growing on top of it yet. But once stuff starts growing up there, also it's forbidden. Here about the mitzvah. You use a non-fruit bearing tree as your trellis. So Amaris Kevin Mitzvahs Ilan Machol. So in other words, because the rest of the Ilan Srak is as if it's bottle. Even it's not really, because it's not, it doesn't answer. So if it's bottle to the part which is holding up the grapevine, so don't plant on the rest of the tree either. But if you marvelous a geffen on top of like an apple tree, so then the apple tree has a chashivas in of itself. So therefore, you can plant something else under the apple tree on the other side, it doesn't answer it. You can put a zera under the rest of the tree. And if it's the grapevine start growing out in that direction, you have to take them back. So once Rabbi Yishmael went to Rabbi Yishmael, not sure it's the Rabbi Yishmael or it's Rabbi Yishmael of Kfar Aziz. It's not clear. He showed him graven, which is trellised on top of part of a fig tree. He said, Ma'ani Lavi Zera al Tachsa Moisa. We plant a grain under the rest of the fig tree. Muti said it's okay. And he took the place called Beis Minyanaya, so it is the famous Rabbi Shmuel. No, not necessarily. Anyway, Geffen Shohem Mudla Mixas Hakora. He showed him a grapevine which is trellised on part of a beam, the Sadon Shoshikma, and on the stump of a sycamore tree, Uvokos Harbe, and there were a lot of beams there, because the sycamore tree grows beams. He said, Kachas Hakora Azu Aser, presumably because there's an Elon Srak, and the grapevines could grow out in that direction. The Tachas Basham Mutter, and the rest is Mutter. Eis Elon Srak. What is an Elon Srak? Oshen Yoseperos. Remember, Kol Elon Srak. No, everything has definition of Elon Srak. In other words, it's become tough out towards the Geffen. Except for olives and figs, which have their own chashivas. Rabbi Yossi Meir Kosh Ein Kamo Notim Sodo Shlemos. Anything which they don't make orchards. Harezi Elon Srak. So even though it bears fruit, if it's not significant enough, we would make a separate orchard of it. It's considered to be a barren tree. We obviously, I don't know, it's obviously Basman Krabar and Elon Srak is specifically something which doesn't grow fruit. I finished the Mishnah. We've gone halfway down in Nunches, so we will stop here for today.